Will you say that again?
At 7:20, I will call the monthly Ridgeville Park District Board meeting to order. It is Thursday, August 10th. We'll do a roll call.
So Diana Anton, absent. Yvonne Palmer. Here. Sean Jones.
Here.
Matt Mitchell, absent. And Mick Brown.
Here. Thank you. Citizen comment? Either of you have anything to say?
On board.
Okay. Thank you.
We're 1 minute in.
Just wait.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay. Any further?
I'm hungry.
Thank you.
Speaking for all of us.
Same. Same.
Bored and hungry. All right. Moving on to approval of the minutes.
Move approval of July 17, 2023 monthly board meeting minutes.
No, second. Wait, how many?
Comments? No? Good. Can
Including-
we roll call that, please?
Are we doing roll call?
Do we need to on the minutes? No.
I
Okay.
think we're not doing
Minutes.
that anymore.
Minutes are approved.
Call for the vote. Just have to say
All in favor?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No way, I haven't.
That was mistake number one, whoever's keeping up tally.
Okay.
Approval of the bills.
Move approval of the bills.
I second.
Marlon, you want to go over any?
Yeah, just a couple of things to highlight on the bill summary. One that Brian would be super happy about is the door. So that is the $7,773.72 for the outside here. That was on the budget before Brian left to get that done. So that would be done as soon as this check is signed and out to our door guy. The other one too here, which is the Two Brothers Heating and Cooling. That is, we replaced a 15-year-old AC unit over at the field house, which was becoming a safety hazard for our campers there. Throughout the summer, we were having to do maintenance and shut it off, on and off, basically every other day over there. So we got a brand new one with a 5-year warranty. And as you all know, the summer was pretty hot and it's still hot. And obviously we still had partner camps after our camps ended a couple weeks ago. So just wanted to highlight those. Those are big ones, but they were needed.
What's this, Saren Cecil for $8,865?
That is our brochure designer.
Okay.
Sorry, which designer?
Our brochure,
Oh,
which is out. Oh, I don't want to. That's.
Yeah,
I'm not going to steal your thunder.
Okay. All
It's all
right.
good. She's our designer.
Commissioners, anything further, any questions on those? Okay.
There's something I saw in here about a change in price, $5,000 for a piece of equipment. What was that?
That is the Kubota. That's on my board report, but we can talk about it. It's a piece of equipment that we ordered last year. Due to supply chain issues, I received an email saying that at this point they weren't going to be able to give us the original cost for that, and it was going to go up $5,000.17.
It's not on this bill's report.
Yeah, let's
Right,
put
right.
that in
Yeah, it's just
Marlon's report.
yeah.
Sorry, I jumped ahead.
No, it's
Yeah.
okay. It's all right. Okay. Now roll calling. Favor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And a motion for the petty cash? Yes.
I move to approve it.
Second.
All right. Pretty straightforward.
How's that new chair, Ron?
It's fantastic. We're getting so much more work done.
Have you seen it? In all its red glory?
Yeah.
Are you getting one too?
No, I got a chair last year. When we had that surplus of money and needed to spend stuff, I got my chair.
Because the chairs in the conference out there are terrible.
But I
Either
did
that or
read.
Brian's chair.
I did redesign his office for him, so there's places for y'all to sit.
Brian, yeah, Natalie did a great job.
I had a
getting
vision.
in there and making more into an office. So thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Cash? Aye. All right, thank you. Moving on to monthly reports, starting with Marlon.
Yeah, just want to say that camps are over, our camps are, and I actually just wanted to give a big thank you to our staff, Natalie, Marcos, the directors, who did a fantastic job of getting camps together. Kids were having fun, and I think parents were pretty happy as well. So Marcos isn't here, but he's also a very important piece to all of that. But Natalie, thank you so much for managing and making it organized fun chaos.
Yeah, thank you. My kids both went and
Oh, I know they did.
they went.
They're my favorite campers.
Go back to that camp.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
I love that camp.
Yay.
Citizen comment number
I was trying to make names for all my counselors.
So our maintenance group's obviously been busy throughout the whole summer. Talked about the AC already. The Kubota, that's where I talk about that here. The original quote, I forget what the original quote was here. Yeah, Brian was quoted at was $24,857. The new quote is $29,874, which is a $5,017 increase.
What's
In that
what's
vehicle.
Kubota? Sorry.
It's basically a tractor that the guys we use to plow, to clean, and to work on just the
It's like a-
themselves.
two-person vehicle. It's got like 6 wheels. So it's like a little, kind of like a John Deere off-road
Okay.
vehicle for like basic maintenance. They can drive it on the streets and just go park to park. And then additionally, the plan was to get a plow for it as well, to plow, and then also hopefully eventually like a brush to brush the sidewalk. So like City of Evanston has multiple, Western has them. It's a very popular, any city uses multiple of these. So it's not something that would be used and is great, but this jump in price is pretty absurd.
So this is something too, when I talked to Marcos about it, when you mentioned right now the plow, I think you were in the office too. It is something that obviously, Marcos and Felipe are gonna use quite a bit, and they're pretty excited about having that for, the plowing that's gonna.
The winter, we're gonna be able to clear the sidewalks all through the parks a lot faster.
Yep.
Right.
It's going to be much more efficient for them, yeah.
And we have, two guys.
Because right now there's snow plowing, there's snow blowing.
And
Right.
and shoveling size.
Yeah.
And shoveling, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So remind me, do you know why we separated out? Do you remember why we separated out the plow at first?
I don't know. I think it had to do with like the original amount of money that was budgeted
so,
for
too.
it. And I think we were going to tack on the add-on pieces, the plow and the brush, to the next
Right.
budget year.
Right.
And don't confuse it with the plow for the truck.
Truck.
It's a separate plow.
Right.
Okay. So this one here that I'm seeing is for the truck, the 72-inch.
Yeah, and the lights, that's the one for the truck, for the budget.
Okay.
For the new truck, right?
Yeah.
The new truck.
Who's our supplier on that Kubota?
What's that?
Who's the supplier for Kubota?
Russo,
Yeah.
should be Russo, yeah.
It's Russo.
So just to confirm,
Yeah,
because I'm seeing 2 plows on here, right? I'm seeing a V plow front blade. And then another one on the back that's listed by itself. Is that the same? Or is that, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, no, I'm looking at it right now. They might be the same. Let me,
So is
I'll
that-
talk to our supplier about that.
Is that the plow for the new truck, or is that the plow for the?
No, that's for the Kubota.
That's the Kubota?
Yes.
Okay. So it is now on here?
Yes.
And part of this 29,000?
Yes, that's for everything, yeah.
That's right. Okay. But the brush is not on here yet, right?
No,
Okay. All right.
and I can get a quote for the brush.
Yeah.
See what that is from them now.
God, we've been talking about this for a long time.
Well, when I see the old, yeah, this is.
It was Ruben that put the specs together for
Yeah.
this. That's how long ago
Yeah.
it was.
It's years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, like, as much as like like this $5,000 pains me,
Yeah.
but it's, you know, if we say no to this, it could be another
Mhm.
year or two before they,
Yeah, I think it was first
Right.
put in the budget 2 budgets ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it will be, it will be another year or
Yeah.
two if we don't.
okay.
But, and that's why I did push back and say, you gotta give me something. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
with this, like, that's a jump.
Can they help us out on the?
I'll ask them the equipment on the brush. I will, I'll ask on the
Right.
brush, because I asked on the actual vehicle, but I'll ask them if they can do anything for the
you know,
brush.
maybe that's something that they could.
Give us something,
Geez,
discount or something.
And for supply chain issues, it has nothing to do with us. We've just been sitting here
Right,
waiting,
no,
Yeah.
exactly,
right? Like,
yeah.
Do we need to do anything tonight on this?
No, it's just really to make you aware, the
Yeah.
price is going up, have a discussion, if you want to pull the plug on it, you can pull the plug on it, but.
Are we-
Can we forward it, so what he'll do, 2 things. We need to budget in the upcoming budget, the extra money for it.
That we're gonna be
So
spending on
that'll
this.
be in the
So
budget,
the
so
extra
we get it
5,000.
next month. And then to cut the check, to go pick it up, you can just put it on the bills report next month.
And we did put it on the budget.
and I understand we need this and when our guys
Mhm.
want this, but is this, are we comfortable doing this?
I'm not for me to say.
Yeah.
I think we're comfortable doing this.
Yeah.
I think
Thanks.
Ryan was pretty
I would like-
enthusiastic
yeah.
about it when he first
No, I know.
Yeah.
investigated it. You know, he
Right.
met with the city, he met with the university, he's
I
seen it
remember
in
that.
action. He's like, yeah, this is gonna be a nice
Yeah.
piece of equipment. They have-
I see it all the time at work,
Yeah.
you know.
2 years ago,
See it.
2,
see
maybe
it all-
almost 3 years ago, that this started, trying to get this thing.
I'll tell you that, you know,
We were like,
I would want it for our guys, just so
Okay.
guys,
I mean,
I
we
would.
have money.
we were like, how big was the wait list at one point? Was it over 100 or was it just up in the like 80s or 90s? I forget how many.
Yeah.
You know, there was just a massive waiting list due to COVID and supply chain.
I'd like to see if we can get the brush.
I will,
Yeah.
I'll lean on.
I mean, as much business as we do with them, because
We do
do all
a
the other
lot.
stuff for the truck.
I'd be more than
Do
happy.
they do grilling?
They probably do.
Because maybe they could do that for us too, right?
Okay.
Throw that on, put
Mhm.
original partition on the side of it, that
Yep.
would be kind of sharp.
I'll see what we can get from
You know what I
that,
mean,
just
just-
that much.
Okay, all right, well,
It'll be on the next one then.
anything further from you, Marlon?
Let's see, the Nature Play equipment will be in late August.
Oh, cool.
Yep. So that's something, and then the old truck, the 250
Yeah.
with 46,000 miles, we'll be putting that on govdeals.com for an auction. I would talk about alcohol at our concerts, and yeah, that was it. Those are my highlights.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, summer camp has ended. We had some super cute campers who can't hear me right now that give really good hugs. Worry. Everything went really well this summer. We had a great group of kids. You know, a couple little hiccups here and there, but nothing out of the ordinary. Our summer story workshops we ran on Monday mornings at Leiter Park with Laura Downey were a huge hit this summer. That was really popular. Summer sports went really well. We had to cancel a lot of days because of the poor air quality and for weather, whatever. So we ended up adding a week at the end of those to make up for that. Had pizza parties for everybody. So much pizza. Never want pizza again. Super, super grateful to all of the summer staff, our Youth in the Park staff, our coaches, everybody for a really wonderful camp season. We ended the camps this summer with a party for the families and everybody. One of our campers has a band, and so they set up all their equipment here. It was awesome, and they were awesome. Like, give her a couple years and I'll put her on the main stage.
Or
But
an
it-
opener, maybe.
Absolutely, they were fantastic. Did lots of water games, had snacks and different things. Families came out, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, so that's summer camp. Now we're Also, okay, so then the youth grow team also has wrapped up. They did a terrific job. Laura Downey took over that role this summer as the urban agricultural supervisor. She did a great job. She worked with the kids. We had five kids on the youth grow team. That's a partnership that we do with the city of Evanston as part of the mayor's summer youth employment program. So we hire Laura, and before it was Laura, it was Catherine Egan. And then the city pays the kids. So they come and interview with us and go through that whole process and then spend the summer working here. And what they do is park beautification. They grow food at Elks for food pantries and the love fridges, is that what they call them, around Evanston? And then at the end of their season, they do like a presentation for staff and everybody on what they've done and grown and learn. It's very cool. So now moving forward, I had a couple typos in here. Laura will in fact be working with volunteers through the rest of the season, through the fall, to finish harvesting and continue making those food donations. Super grateful to them for all their hard work. Super grateful to Laura as well. We are now in partner camp season. So in August, we reserved the spaces for what I call partner mini camps. We used to do those throughout the whole summer. When our summer camps were only mornings, we would offer the afternoon spaces to partners to run their camps. Now we do full day camps for our families because that was a big request. And then I just reserved the month of August for partners to come in and either do a half day or a full day. So in August, we're working with the Imaginary Game. They're here at Ridgeville all 3 weeks of August. At Cayman last week, we had Incrediflix. It was our first summer working with them, and they do movie making, film making with the kids, and that went really well. Next week, we've got Playwell Technologies. We had to cancel one of the afternoon camp, but we will be running Pokemon in the morning next week over at Cayman. We had to cancel our mini basketball camp and our Let's Craft It camp due to low registration. And so those will wrap up on August 18th, and then we'll get that space ready to start gearing up for the fall. Concerts on the Ridge are a success. It's been a really great summer. The first two we had to cancel for weather, and it made me nervous about if we were going to get any up, but we have, and they've been terrific. Our crowd last night, you couldn't see any grass. It was so packed, which was really, really cool. We've got a couple food vendors there. Cocina Azteca is there. We've got Firehouse Grill, Cat's Cookies. As always, Pour Coffee has joined us. We also have some local organizations that have set up tables and paid for that space to the foundation. So that money will help us pay for the bands this summer, which is really cool. Also, I want to say thank you to all of you for getting the liquor through. I've been asking for that for a super long time, and I'm really, really happy that y'all and Marlon made that happen. The vendors have wanted to do that, and based on last night, I think it's going to be a nice, calm, safe endeavor, and it will be really helpful for the vendors, specifically Firehouse Grill, who's selling it. So thank you for doing that. Moving forward into the rest of August, we've got Esther Williams next week. She's a jazz vocalist. We have Yuta and the High Dukes, who are fan favorites, and then we're going to end the season with Michael Charles. He does some blues hits. He's a world renowned performer. It'll be our first time hosting him, so I'm really looking forward to having him there as well to end the summer. We did a drone video, which I know we spoke about earlier, that I think you may have seen online. That turned out really cool, and it sounds like he's coming back to do some more of the concerts, so that's really neat. Looking ahead at fall, the brochure is out now for fall and winter. Our first session of fall classes will begin on August 27th. Registration, so far so good. We're welcoming back partners, the Imaginary Game, Evanston Soccer School, Language in Action, and Avalon Theater Club. Starting this fall, we are also welcoming new partnership with Young Rembrandt's drawing classes, Rhythm Revolution, a modern self-defense class, and Sweat sport camps that will be here on the District 65 half days. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioners, good. Those concerts are the best.
Yeah.
The whole neighbor, everybody,
Mm-hmm.
young, old,
Mm-hmm.
they're a blast. We look forward to them every Wednesday.
Thank you.
We've now started to rearrange our schedules. Wednesday night concerts, it's great.
That's great.
All right, Mr. Gibbs?
Cook County has announced that the final installment of the 2022 tax bills are going to go out 4 months late. That means to us, $360,000 that we were supposed to have gotten this month, we're not going to get until December. We don't have sufficient cash balances at Chase to tide us through this time period, so we'll have to draw down our reserves from our investment balances. I actually yesterday initiated a $100,000 transfer from Wintrust into Chase because you approved bills tonight that were way up there, 70,000 in bills, and we had a $30,000 payroll, so already we needed $100,000 investments to keep from being overdrawn on Chase. What it means to us is in the next few months, this is not the time to embark on big capital projects or one-off expenses. We really need to conserve our cash and get money in the door again. To do the normal operating expenses, we're fine on that, but once again, we're going to be scrambling winters and spring to spend money that we wanted to spend in the fall because we don't have the money from the county. Our audit representatives from Sikich have scheduled their on-site visit for September 20th through the 22nd. I'll be available during this time, as well as office staff, to answer questions and provide documentation that they request. They will be reaching out to you commissioners with surveys and requests for information. It's vitally important that you be very responsive to that and get those surveys turned back into them as quick as possible. Otherwise, it delays the whole process and we're up against a legal deadline to get the process completed. So,
Question on that.
I don't see that, I don't know what's in it, but it's typically kinds of things like they're probing potential fraud awareness that you've got.
It's
going on.
pretty quick.
Yeah.
But this is state required mandated legal obligation to do this every year.
Yes.
Because it's expensive.
Yes. Yeah, above a certain size, or above that size, you have to do it. And then we'll be going into the budget discussion tonight, but part of some of my time has been spent this month meeting with Marlon to further develop the budget for the new year. We'll get it finalized late August, kind of after you voted on the bills tonight. We can now close out the books for June 30th, and that gives us the final details we need to finalize the budget. We then turn it over to Charlie to draft the ordinance, and then we'll vote on the ordinance at the September meeting. My next item in my report is I just want a little guidance from folks. We've had a long-standing relationship with U.S. Bank that goes back to before I was treasurer. In general, we've maintained banking relationships with multiple banks that have had offices or currently have offices in the district, or at least in Evanston overall. And the purpose is anytime we start to get the FDIC limit of $250,000 in an institution, we need to move the money into another institution to not go over that $250,000 threshold. The relationship, and I don't know how or what the history is as to how we have a relationship with U.S. Bank, but we have it. It's been a bit problematic. Most recently, Marlon and I went to try and change the signers on the account and get Brian off and get Marlon on. The Howard Street branch was closed. They had signage directing us over to the Dempster Street branch in Skokie. We went over there. We sat around. We had to wait for somebody to finish their lunch for us to be able to meet with them. And then when we did, they didn't know how to handle us because we're a government agency, which that doesn't surprise me. Every bank we deal with doesn't know quite what to do with us because they don't have a lot of government agencies walking in their front doors saying we want to do it. And they're usually a special division of the bank because of the oversight and regulation that's involved with it. But anyway, he said he was going to reach out to their team that handles that, but there was nobody available in the moment, and then he'd get back to us in a few days. He never got back to to us. I've reached out to him a couple of times, doesn't return my calls or emails. So I've just been a little frustrated. I think we're going to have to just go into the breach and deal with it again. But then it dawned on me, another alternative here is, I don't know that it's essential that we have this relationship anymore. When I started, we didn't have the relationship with the Illinois Funds, which is run by the state treasurer's office. That's been a much simpler program to work with. The only negative, if you can call it a negative, is that the Illinois Funds is a true investment fund. It is not FDIC insured, so in theory, we're at risk of loss there. In practice, since its inception in the 1970s, it's never lost money, never come close to losing money. We earn way more interest there. In this past year, we've made maybe $5,000 on our balances that we have at the Illinois Funds, where we've made maybe, if we're lucky, $100 at U.S. Bank on our funds that we have there, to just kind of compare it. We grew our balances. Pardon?
Can we just drop them?
That's what I'm proposing. We got less than $50,000 on balance there. I need money to fund Chase, so I'd like to just withdraw all the money out of there and close the account.
Since they closed our Main Street branch, I say we were.
And they're sending you to Skokie. To go,
Well,
and they're not even in town anymore.
The Howard branch is awful.
And I don't want to, sound like I'm beating on them, but then in the middle of all my thought process for this, then there was the news reports yesterday that Moody's is reviewing the credit rating of several major banks. U.S. Bank is one of those banks. Now, we will not totally be escaping their clutches in that the Illinois Funds uses their stock custodial services to manage their accounts. So technically, all the money we have with the Illinois Funds, we go through U.S. Bank to access anyway. So it's kind of like we're just dealing with a different part of the bank.
That's
And indirectly, because we're going through the state treasurer. Okay, thank you. That's all I needed to know there. On the monthly reports, key indicators, I don't have any reports for fiscal year end yet. I can't open up the new year until we get the auditors to give us the balances for the new year after we get the old year closed out. So it's going to be a while before we see normal monthly reporting. I do have draft copies of the reports for June 30th that have some of the postings made. The only thing missing at this point are maybe some final entries as well as the entries out of tonight's board meeting. So the numbers are subject to changing, but the outlines of where we're headed are getting much clearer. And what it shows is we're going to have a surplus of about $30,000, $30,000 to $50,000, versus our plan was to have a shortfall of $118,000, because we're trying to draw our excessive balances down. The reason that's important is when we got our balances too high, every few years we get sued by taxpayer advocacy groups, and Charlie's always able to get us out of the lawsuits because we can demonstrate we've been doing things responsibly in the right way. But as our balances have been so excessive, it's going to make the task of escaping one of those types of lawsuits more difficult. So we really got to make a concerted effort to get the balances down. That's what we've been trying to do through COVID. Supply chain delays, all these, the tax bill delays, all these things are complicating our effort to get our money out and used. So we're just compounding the problem this year, in that we got to roll it in to get another budget season. Marlon and I have been working on doing that. We will see the final details of that at next month's meeting. We actually will discuss the budget tonight and talk about it a little bit, but it's very challenging, and it's not what we. It's normally you'd say it's a good thing. We got 30,000 extra money, 30,000 surplus funds. We don't want the surplus funds. We want to be spending the money. So there we go.
Go to Russo for that vote.
Yeah. I know. So there you have it. The good news is we're in a really strong financial shape for an agency like we are. So that's what sustained us so well through COVID, was that we've got phenomenal financial strength to weather these storms.
Thank you very much. I don't see any members from the Ready Committee
Mm-mm.
Moving on to old business.
And here we go. Something you'll get sick of seeing if you haven't gotten sick yet of seeing it, our tentative budget. So Jerry and I have been working on this. I've also been working on it with Natalie and Marcos as well to get their input and insight with day-to-day. A couple of things just to highlight just from the last one. For office supplies and equipment, I did add a camera for staff for us to be able to take pictures at events and things like that, whether it's obviously our summer camps or our concerts in the park. At CA9 for attorney's fees and expenses, I know at the last meeting, Sean, Nick, and Matt, you had mentioned bringing down the lawyer fees. So that's actually a typo there. It should be 12,000 and not 17,000.
There's that $5,000 right there.
Making it work.
There you go.
Making it work. I don't have any other questions. I was just gonna go over some of the things that changed from the last one.
Yeah.
Okay. Jerry, can you talk a little bit about the liability insurance fund, because those changed a little bit?
Well, what we did was we worked off of the preliminary final reports, and saw that we were running that fund just a little too tight to the actuals. We actually went over budget on unemployment insurance and workers' comp insurance. We were under budget on liability, and that's what saved our bacon. So we actually last year are probably going to come in right at about the $22,000 number that was budgeted. Going forward, there will be increases in that stuff, so we bump this up to reflect actual performance of what's going on. And the comment there, our kind of preliminary budget summary skips over a couple of the minor funds because they're embedded in Exhibit A. One of those is the Social Security Fund. It looks like we're going to have a problem on the Social Security Fund with year-end because we actually exceeded the appropriations authority. That's never happened before in my tenure as treasurer. I think technically what has to have happened is that the board needed to go through a full budget hearing and vote process to amend last year's budget and refile with the county, because it's illegal for us to spend more than was approved to be spent. Now, the problem is this didn't happen until the end of June, early July payrolls. We were fine, but the budget cut the Social Security number too tight. Probably because I think as we increased the budget for salaries last year, it allowed for the overlap with Marlin, and an adjustment that was made to the program director's salary didn't think through that it's going to have an impact on Social Security taxes and what the expenses were going to be there. So we went over. Now, not a lot, it's $1,000, but I've got to reach out to Charlie, our attorney, to find out, are we in any legal trouble there? If we have the auditors to find out what kind of trouble might be out there. We may, at next month's meeting, have to, if it's not too late, we have to go back and amend last year's numbers again. In the budget. I've never been through this before, so I'm not quite sure what territory we're in. And the way the state law reads, it's different in the first 6 months of the budget year than it is in the last 6 months of the budget year. So anyway, I don't want that to happen liability next year, and we're going to look really hard at Social Security so we won't get into the
On the
next
website?
year. with Social
Oh,
Security.
Thanks, Jerry. If you go to the general fund line item, page 2 of 7, Mick, you had mentioned it. I think it's a great idea, and Natalie completely agrees. I put on there, I didn't know what else to call it. I called it staff clothing, but it would be obviously for us to wear Ridgeville Park District gear, at our events or in the office or what have you, but to represent our district.
Yep. I
And-
don't think it needs to be,
Yeah.
I'm not telling you you gotta be in
Yeah.
uniform every day, but I'm sure there's times
No,
when.
I'm a hoodie
We
guy,
have
so
some
I'll-
shirts.
Yeah.
I've had shirts made for us in the past that we would wear during the concerts.
Yeah.
But it's, you know,
We used to do something when they were still doing the Custer Street Fair, they had a booth over there.
So we have something in there for next year.
Yeah, good, great.
If you move over to the next page, 3 of 7, I did up our website, so we can do a little bit more with that website, whether it's registration or just upkeep with videos. The equity outreach and strategic planning, that's something we had talked about last month, so they're both at 10 right now. I think Matt is talking to Aisha, so I don't want to, I'm sure he'll have more to say on what's going on with Aisha and the consulting. But we're at 10 and 10 with that now.
That, sorry, what page are you on here?
Page 3 of 7,
Okay. So
under board development.
Yeah. So, strategic planning, that is what we talk about.
What the
last
community
month,
needs
when we're
assessment.
approving.
Right.
And 10 will cover that.
I don't know if 10 will cover it, to tell you the truth. That's what I'm trying to see right now, what we
Yeah.
can get for 10.
I'm just wondering if the 30 we have to spend,
Mhm.
if that might be a place we could use some of that
I could definitely use it.
for that strategic plan.
Yeah, I could definitely use it for a strategic plan.
If that's something that, but then I don't know that we could get it moving that quickly,
Mhm.
right? Because that would be,
Yeah, because the only way I can, right now I'm looking at this is parsing it out year by year, saying, well, I have 10 in 2024,
Right.
what can we do, and then maybe see what we can do next year.
Sure.
Talking to the local colleges too, Northern did Oswego's and Naperville's, their community assessment.
Okay.
So I was talking to them, but also reaching out to Northwestern and UIC
Yeah.
to see if they'd be able to help us out in the area.
is that something a community college like that Oakton might?
It might, yeah, I mean, I'm not ruling anybody out.
Because they're close. All right. And it's also, right, if that's, it seems like that for a strategic plan, the lump sum of it is probably going to be right up front,
Mhm.
right? Because even if we're trying to do it down
Yeah.
the road, the biggest money is going to have to be spent the first year.
Right,
That's probably,
yeah.
So, if it has to be more than 10, I think it's important. I think it would be a good thing moving forward.
Mhm. I definitely think it is, like I said, my vision is for us to have a vision, and this will give us that.
Sure.
So that's something that changed there. Also Brummel Park, I added wood replacement. We have a rat problem over there with the hill, and the wood is all just deteriorating. So Marcus and I took a look at it and got some quotes to just completely redo that. And that's going to be $1,500, about $1,500 for us to redo that. And it's becoming a safety issue as well over there at Brummel.
doesn't sound like enough.
We can put more in.
1,500, yeah.
I'll put a big star on that one. And this one for the brochure, Natalie and I talked about this as well. We want to add Spanish to the brochure, so I added another $5,000 to the brochure, so we can add Spanish pages to that as well.
You're the translator.
I know I can do it,
I
but
just pointed
know
at
we
you.
can have it.
Sorry.
I've done it before, so I can definitely do it.
whenever we always have to like pay somebody
Yeah.
to translate things for
Yeah.
for at work.
So is it just going to be,
Yeah.
we're just going to double the length of it?
I don't know. No, I don't
Yeah, we
think
don't
so.
know if we're gonna do.
Because it doesn't make sense to run the pictures twice.
Right.
Right?
No, I think Seren and I had talked about this in years past, and I think we need to sit down and really look at it and figure out the best way to do it. It can either be like the descriptions can be together, or
Right.
sometimes it's like the second half of the brochure. It's just like, but without
Yeah.
repeating photo
yeah.
content.
How I've done it in the past, it's kind of like this, and then.
Or it's yeah, two-sided. So like this side is in English, and then if you turn it around and do this, like then it's in
The same
Spanish.
thing.
Right. But that would require some more
Yeah.
space. I have cut down the spring summer brochure used to be 20 pages. We used to
Yeah.
pay for 20 pages.
Yeah.
And during COVID, I didn't have 20 pages worth of content, so we cut it down to match the 12-page fall brochure.
Yeah.
And now I'm just continuing to run with that and cramming it all into that, which I think is fine and it works, but it's saving us some money. So I think this makes sense, and so we'll just bump them both back up so that we can accommodate the Spanish.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so that would be an extra, for that. And then in the end here, page 6 of 7, you see that the Kubota is there for 30,000.
Yeah.
The piece of the puzzle that will be needed is after it's passed, then we need a motion to transfer money from one of the funds to fund the capital fund. But I'll prompt you when the time comes to that.
That's there too. Those are different things.
They are. I just kept going.
Okay.
I was actually going to increase this one. I was like, let's redesign it, but I think we're good.
And then is this for here?
And budget.
Sorry?
The
Next month is
handicap,
when we-
is that for here? Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, I've always used the analogy of concrete setting. It's kind of like, it's poured, it's pretty well hardened now. There's room to maneuver in the next week to 2 weeks, week and a half or so. But after that, the numbers are set. Nothing's going on. There's best to be available for public comment for a certain period of time. No changes.
Jerry, will you remind me, does anything need to go in the paper about this?
I think so.
Okay.
Because, okay, that brings up a good point. Next month, we'll technically have 2 meetings. It gets confusing.
That's right.
We have to have a meeting before the board meeting that's a public hearing for the public to comment. In reality, almost never does anybody show up. So we just sit there for 15 minutes waiting. Adjourn. And then we go into the regular meeting.
I just spoiled it.
But we have to run an ad.
Yeah.
The hearing is going to happen. Looking at Exhibit A, that's kind of I won't take you through that whole document today, but it's kind of the key piece to the puzzle that brings it all together because it matches the revenue to the expenditures and the fund balancing and ultimately the tax levy and how much we can tax. I'm not going to go through it, but what I did was I ran down real quickly the appropriation line by fund while we were waiting for the meeting to get started and just did a quick study where I divided each total by 12 to get a monthly number and multiplied it by 6 to get 6 months worth of reserves and then compared that to our actual fund balances to see how over or under we were on reserves by fund. Don't hold me to these numbers, but they're, because they're subject to some revisions yet, but they're pretty close to being in the ballpark. We've got roughly 90,000 of excess reserves in the corporate fund. We've got only about 16,000 excess reserves in the recreation fund. We've got $20,000 of excess reserves in the IMRF fund. We just haven't been paying attention to that. I don't know how we ever let that get so out of control. We need to work really hard on bringing that down. We've got about 3,000 excess in Social Security and about 9,000 excess in the liability fund. And by excess, I mean above and beyond 6 months worth.
6 months extra.
Yeah, I mean, so it's 6 months plus this extra money. I have another report that will be next month that will present that answer in terms of the number of months of reserves that we have. But that just shows the financial strength of the district, that we're not in a deficit. Now, there's nothing magic about 6 months either. We just have been working with that number as a discussion number. The board could set a policy, and we probably should at some point set a policy saying what the target is. The Chicago Civic Federation suggests a minimum of 2 months, and a lot of government agencies, much larger than us, run with only 2 months of reserves. But they do say that an agency could run more than that if they have a need for it. 6 months seems, and they talk about 6 months as a common number to strive for. And that's the whole reason that I got focused on the 6 months. 6 months, I think, is pretty comfortable because it gets us through these periods when there's delays in property taxes, or if we ever do something to screw up and not get our tax levy information into the county in time.
Given the constant uncertainty of Cook County taxes, 6 months.
Yeah, I think we want to go any shorter than that.
But we've got like 12, 13 months in some of these funds,
Yeah.
that's over the top. And we just need to redouble our efforts to get down.
What is the possibility of shifting money from fund to fund?
Yeah. Once it gets there, it's there. So the way we get rid of, like, what I'm thinking we're gonna do on the IMRF is we're not gonna levy any taxes this year. We're gonna zero the tax out on that. What that will do, all that the levy focuses on is what's the total. So it'll free that tax money up to some other fund that is it.
Because there's nothing we can do
So,
about it. It has to go to,
right.
yeah, that's. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Good.
Rest my case.
All right. Which brings us to new business. Let's see any on the agenda. Moving forward to call the commissioners. Sean?
No report.
You need it? Our citizens are busy. No comments this time around.
I move to adjourn.
Aye. Second. All in favor?
All right.
Should have headphones on.